The morning the coffee card was declined felt like one of those small, cruel moments the universe uses to test people when they are already tired, already bruised by life, already running on hope and caffeine alone. The cafe was warm, crowded, and humming with the quiet urgency of a weekday rush, but for Grace Whitmore, time froze in that instant. She stood there with her coat still on, her shoulders tight, her eyes steady even as the payment terminal flashed its refusal. No one around her knew that she ran a global empire, that her signature moved markets, or that her net worth could rebuild the street outside. In that moment, she was simply a woman with a declined card and a long day ahead. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a second right now. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small good deeds to change lives, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. A few steps behind her stood Michael Carter, a single father whose life had narrowed into a careful balance of responsibilities, exhaustion, and quiet determination. His mornings began before sunrise in a small apartment on the edge of Columbus, Ohio, where he packed lunches, tied shoelaces, and whispered reassurances to his 8-year-old son Noah before dropping him at school. Michael's wife, Rebecca, had passed away 3 years earlier after a sudden illness, leaving him to relearn the world as both mother and father. He worked nights as a warehouse supervisor and squeezed sleep into the cracks of the day. Coffee was not a luxury for him, it was survival. When the cashier hesitated and the line stalled, Michael noticed the subtle tension ripple through the cafe. Grace reached for another card, her jaw set with a dignity that refused embarrassment. Michael did not know why he acted. He only knew that something about her posture, the quiet way she accepted the inconvenience without complaint, reminded him of the nights he pretended he was not drowning for Noah's sake. He stepped forward and paid for her coffee along with his own, offering nothing more than a small nod before moving aside. It was not charity to him, it was instinct. Grace watched him walk away, noticing the worn jacket, the faint dark circles under his eyes, the gentleness with which he held his cup as if even that warmth mattered. She felt a strange ache she could not place. Her card issue was a technical glitch, one that would resolve itself in minutes, but the moment lingered with her far longer than it should have. As she took her coffee to a corner table, she observed Michael sitting alone, scrolling through his phone with the focused distraction of someone calculating schedules and bills. The world had not yet told him that his small act would matter. Michael left the cafe and went on with his day, unaware that Grace would remember his face. His challenges waited for him as they always did. The rent notice on his kitchen counter, the rising cost of groceries, the guilt of missing another school assembly because of overtime. That evening, as he helped Noah with homework, he wondered if he was doing enough, if being present could ever make up for what they had lost. Life felt like a series of quiet sacrifices no one applauded. Grace's day, meanwhile, spiraled into the chaos of board meetings and crisis calls. As the CEO of a technology firm headquartered in New York with offices across the country, she carried the weight of thousands of employees and investors on her shoulders. Yet her mind kept returning to the cafe in Ohio, to the man who did not know her name and did not care. She had grown used to people seeing her title before her humanity. Michael had seen neither and still chose kindness. Weeks passed. Winter deepened. Michael's car broke down at the worst possible time, forcing him to take 2 buses to work and leaving him scrambling to keep his job. One night, after Noah fell asleep clutching a worn stuffed bear, Michael sat at the kitchen table staring at numbers that refused to cooperate. He considered selling the last meaningful thing he owned, his late wife's old guitar, just to stay afloat. The thought made his chest ache. On a cold Tuesday morning, Michael was called into a meeting at work and informed that the warehouse was being restructured. His position would be eliminated within a month. He nodded, thanked them, and walked out with the hollow calm of someone who has learned to absorb bad news silently. He did not tell Noah that night. He smiled, cooked dinner, and tucked his fear away where his son could not see it. The call came 3 days later, unexpected and formal, inviting Michael to interview for a facilities management role at a growing technology company opening a regional office nearby. He almost declined, assuming it was a mistake. He wore his best shirt, the one Rebecca had once said made him look confident. and showed up with no expectations. Grace Whitmore sat at the head of the conference room table when he entered. The recognition flickered between them, subtle but unmistakable. Michael felt heat rush to his face, confused by the sudden connection. Grace smiled, not the polished corporate smile the world knew, but something softer, more human. She had asked to meet him personally after seeing his application and realizing fate had quietly circled back. The interview was not about credentials alone. Grace listened as Michael spoke about teamwork, about responsibility, about why stability mattered to families. She saw in him the integrity she wished more leaders possessed. When the offer was extended, it was generous, stable, and life-altering. Michael accepted, still unaware of the full truth about the woman across from him. It was only later, when he saw her on a business magazine cover labeled as one of the wealthiest self-made CEOs in America, that the weight of that morning coffee truly hit him. The woman he had helped without thinking was a billionaire. The realization left him stunned, not because of the money, but because kindness had moved in a direction the world rarely showed. Grace did not stop there. Over the months, she quietly expanded the company's family support programs inspired by Michael's story. Flexible hours, childcare assistance, scholarships for employees' children. She never announced the reason. She did not need applause. She needed impact. Michael's life slowly steadied. Noah thrived in school, proud of his dad, safe in the rhythm of evenings that no longer carried the same tension. One spring afternoon, Michael watched his son run across a playground, laughter ringing out, and felt something unfamiliar bloom in his chest. Relief, hope, gratitude. Near the end of this story, if it has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Your engagement tells us these stories matter, and it helps spread kindness further than we ever could alone. Grace and Michael remain connected through work, their respect mutual and deep. She never framed his act as the moment that changed her, but it had. It reminded her that power did not come from wealth, but from choices made when no one was watching. Michael never saw himself as a hero. He saw himself as a father who bought a stranger coffee because it felt right. Before this story ends, we have one special request. Please comment the word kindness below if you believe small actions can change lives. We read every comment, and your words matter. The cafe in Columbus still buzzed every morning, unaware of the quiet miracle it had hosted. Somewhere between a declined card and a shared moment of humanity, 2 lives had shifted course. Not because of billions or titles, but because a single dad stepped forward when he didn't have much to give, and gave anyway.